Hey guys, welcome back to Art Adventures. So today we're gonna make a minion, and this is gonna be out of our Lego blocks. I'm gonna go ahead and deconstruct this, and I'm gonna give you guys a step-by-step tutorial on how I built this guy. You may or may not have the exact same pieces as me, but you can make it work with what pieces you have. I'll see you guys in a second. So before I deconstruct this, I know that some people are wondering, what is this and what is it for? Well, two things. You can either put this here and snap off on something that is a little bit more difficult, typically the smaller pieces. If you can't do it with your hands, say this little tiny 2x1 or 1x2, I can go ahead and clip that on and then boom, snap it off. Or I can use this wedge side to go ahead and get, like, say, these little tiny pieces that are gonna be stuck together. These are really, really flat. And they're hard to get under with, say, your nail or something like that. And then you can kind of just wedge it under, boom, pop it off, and then you're all set. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this deconstruction, and I'll see you guys in a second to teach you guys exactly how I built my minion. All right guys, so I got everything deconstructed, and I'm gonna talk about a couple of pieces before we get started. So my base piece that I need is gonna be a 2x8 across. And in the sets that I have, I don't have a 2x8. So all I have to do is continue to kind of build pieces together. And the best part that I found that would work for mine are these flat pieces. 3 of them high would work. Again, I don't have all the pieces that would equal up to a 2x8 stacked on top of each other, so I had to puzzle them together. Other than that, if you have a 2x8, that's what you're gonna start with. Now it's the same thing as if you used, say, a 3x2, a 2x2, and another 3x2, it still equals a 2x8. So there's different ways to build these up. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys how I started off with those. So I take my 2x8 piece that I created, and then I just add on to that 2x8 and create it double the height. I'm gonna triple that, and again, since I don't have all of the pieces that I need, I have to create my own 2x8 piece by fitting some pieces together. So it might look like a puzzle piece right now, but really all it is a 2x8. That's a tall one, a second one, and a third one. If you don't have those specific pieces, then you kind of create your own 2x8 width, okay? So once you have that, you take a 2x2 blue brick, you go to the bottom, and you're not gonna connect it here at the edge of this. You're gonna go 1 over the middle. So you're 1 off the center and 1 off the edge here. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side. These are gonna be the pant legs. So you're gonna snap that down to the bottom, all right? Once you're doing that, you could either have a 2x2 black piece or a 3x2 black piece. If you have a 3x2 black piece, you kind of just make it look like they're more boots, like the minions actually have. If you have a 2x2, that's completely fine. You could do that. You'll still get the same look from here, but you just won't get the full look of a boot on this side. All right, so now, next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna start doing some skin in the actual overalls itself. So the minions are yellow, so you're gonna take a 2x2, you're gonna snap that on right there on the corner, another 2x2, snap that on this corner, and then you're gonna fill in with a 4x2, or if you don't have a 4x2, you kind of create a 4x2. This is what I like about having multiple pieces. So, for example, I don't have a 4x2 to fill in that, so I take a 1x2 or 1x1. I fill in that little gap right there, and I fill in that gap right there with another 1x1, and now you have a 4x2, okay? So you make it work with whatever pieces that you have. Sometimes it gets a little bit easier, sometimes it gets a little bit harder, depending on what pieces you actually are working with. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a 4x2 yellow, okay? Now on this, you actually have to have a 4x2 yellow piece or a 3x2, and you'll just have to stick it on like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this 4x2 and put my 4x2 on top of the 2x2 evenly, okay? Same thing on the other side. And now you have another gap here, but this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take a 2x2 yellow piece, put it in the center. Make sure you don't snap off any other pieces. Put it in the center, so now you have a gap of a 1x2 and a 1x2. And either put a 1x2 in blue, or if you're like myself and you don't have those pieces, you create a 1x2 with the two 1x1s. You fill in that gap. And there you go. Okay, so now we have the arms are starting to stick out. So now we're gonna go ahead and take a 4x2 and we're gonna put it right over that. It's gonna kind of secure everything in place a little bit, okay? And then you're gonna do a 2x2 if you have it in blue. If you don't, again, you're gonna have to create it. So I could do two things. I could take a 1x1, okay? Snap that on. Create a 2x2 that way. Or three of these 2x2 flat pieces, three of those here snapped on, 3 high, would create the same effect. I don't have enough of those flat pieces, so I have a lot of these 1x1 blue pieces, and that's what I decided to go with because that's what pieces I have, and that's what's going to work for me. All right, so now there's the 2x2s that we created. All right, so now since we have pretty much the gist of the body done, before we get like the head part done, I'm gonna go ahead and add these two little pieces. So I have these pieces that are kind of at an angle, but the connections are on the top, and so that angle is cut off here, so it kind of has that comes off the body. If you only have something that's maybe like a 2x2, that's completely fine. You can just put them there, or a 3x2 and kind of have it sticking out a little bit. But if you have say a regular 2x2 piece like this, and you stick it on, that also works. It doesn't have to be perfect, just to have those black gloves as the Minions do. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick on my two angled pieces, kind of like wedges. And I want that to go away from the body, not towards the body, just so it kind of gives you more of a different look. All right, so now we have all these pieces here. We're gonna take a 6x2 and we're gonna connect this here. Now we're gonna start going up and building that. So since we have this little bit here, if I had a 8x2, I'd take an 8x2 and put it that way, but I don't, so I'm just doing a 6x2 and connecting it here to create my 8x2, okay? And then the next thing that we're gonna do is, if you have a 4x2 black piece like this, but the taller one, this is the flat piece. I don't have any tall ones. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 3 of these flat pieces and putting them together like this and creating my own 4x2 black piece. And it's the same, if you do 3 of them, it's the same height as a regular flat piece. or a regular block. Okay, so 3 of the flats equal 1 height of 1 regular block. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the center. So I'm gonna have 2 spaces here and 2 spaces here. And basically this is going to be your goggles, the start of your goggles. Put a 2x2 here and a 2x2 here. Then we're gonna do something a little bit different. Taking 2 browns, okay, 2x1 brown and a 2x1. If you have a 2x2 brown, that's ideal. I don't in my set, so 2x2 and 2x2. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side here in the middle, okay? Now, here's where we get a little tricky as far as certain sets having certain pieces. Just like we did a 4x2 flat piece on top of each other, there's 3 of those flat pieces. I'm gonna do the exact same thing for a 2x1 flat piece to create a 2x1 regular block. And I put that right over here next to my 2x2 brown block, okay? So if you didn't catch that, I'm gonna take a 2x1 flat piece, and then I'm going to stick on another 2x1 flat piece on top. I'm gonna take a third 2x1 flat piece, and I'm going to stick that on top, and that is the same height as a regular, say, 2x1 piece, but I don't have a black one of these, so I created one. Same thing, put it on the left side, all the way against your brown, and then you're gonna take a 2x2 white block, and you're gonna put that in the center, in that little spot there. Then the same exact thing that I did here, which was a 4x2, I created my 4x2 block. I did the same thing. This one's just a little bit more complicated as far as the pieces that I used, but that's what I had. But it should be the exact same size as this, the 4x2s, 3 stacked high. Same thing, 4x2s, 3 stacked high, okay? Once you're done with that, you're gonna take a 2x2 block, put that on top. Same thing on the other side, 2x2 block, put that on top. And then you're gonna take either a 8x2, or in my case, I only have 4x2s left in my yellow. So I put one there, I'll put one here, and then I have 2 more. Put one on this side, one on this side, and then to get not a boxed head, but more of a rounded head, take a 6x2, and you put that on the top, and there you go. Now you have yourself a Lego Minion. I'm gonna go ahead and get some more of these tutorials out to you guys as soon as I can, but we are now in our Lego session in our STEAM class. And so there you go. We're gonna get some more little tutorials here and there set up for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you guys have any other things that you'd like to request for me to make, leave a like if you guys like this little tutorial. Appreciate you guys watching. Love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.